Oh, Canada, Germany, London, all these other places. I mean, can we focus on American football here? Hello and welcome to Break Panel Sports. I'm John, joined alongside Joel. Today we've got a little recap of Week 5 of the National Football League. And obviously, we're going to talk about Matt Canada. There is the Jaguars-Bills game. Will there be a new expansion team in London? I know people were talking about that a while ago. Maybe we'll get into there. Maybe we won't. Maybe we will. I don't know. But Joel, how are we?
Doing as well as I could be,
Of course.
As some of you know, I am a New York Giants fan, but don't worry, okay? It's all part of the process. That's all I gotta say, for now at
Yes.
least.
The
It's all part of the
process
process.
the process was over last year.
No.
Giants are back, and now the
There,
new process is beginning.
there's a bigger picture no one's seeing. Don't worry,
Right,
it's okay.
right. Bigger.
Perfectly
It's
fine.
all about it's all about the bigger picture. It's all about the bigger picture. You know who doesn't see any sort of picture in my
Who?
head, or at least I can't see it. I can't see the vision. Matt Canada of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, we'll start there. Why not? 17-10 was the final score of Ravens Steelers. The game basically ended. A lot of defense, a lot of ugly football. If you said 17-10, you're thinking, oh, touchdown, field goal, touchdown. No, there were safeties, there were everything you could ever imagine from an ugly game between the Ravens and the Steelers, as we expected. That's why we love this rivalry. But the game ended with a huge, long touchdown pass to George Pickens. And that became the story of the game, not because of how great the play was, not because of the Pickens Pickett connection, not because it felt like triple B's are back, but it's double P's. It's now the story about the Pittsburgh Steelers is not Mike Tomlin. It is not, whatever happened in their history. It is not who's playing on the field right now. It's Matt Canada. That's who we talk about. We're not talking about a 3-2 football team that's finding ways to win. We're talking about your quarterback, audibles, he changes the play. He throws a
Right.
giant touchdown pass to George Pickens, your star wide receiver. Exactly what I want to see from a quarterback. Something I expect from veteran quarterbacks, not a second-year quarterback. And Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator, just sits there. No
Let me
reaction, not
I
happy,
was gonna
nothing.
say, let me ask you, like, at least from what I took from the game, I don't know if a lot of people thought this, but like, do you view this as like, oh wow, like the Steelers, like, yeah, they did pretty well offensively. They did fine. Matt Canada, despite of Matt Canada. Or are you looking at it like, how did the Baltimore Ravens lose this game?
Oh, yeah, big time. I mean, it's a little bit of
That,
everything, right? Because
that's
the
what I was
Steelers,
viewing it as, because I'm
yeah,
like, oh my God, Lamar Jackson is still here, right? Is
he's
he
still
hurt?
there.
How,
He had,
what's 10?
yeah,
They scored what, 10 points, right?
10
10
points,
points?
20, 22 or 38, 236 yards, and an interception. That's Lamar Jackson's stat line.
Oy, oy,
Um,
oy.
that's what it was. A
I mean,
lot of
don't get
drop
me wrong.
passes, though. You saw the drop passes, correct? I mean, absurd.
Rashad Bateman, man, just take off your jersey. I don't want, if I'm a Ravens fan, I don't want to see that man back on this team. Oh my God, I would be so mad to see Rashad Bateman on the field. You know how bad that was?
That was
You know
really
how
bad.
bad some of these were?
Even Mark Andrews dropping a big
Oh my
touchdown
God.
pass.
Top top three tight end? Where? I didn't see it on
Where's it
Sunday.
at? It's in
I didn't see
fantasy.
that.
It's on a sleeper ranking. I don't know. I mean, this was just a bad game by every. I mean, but the thing is, like, you expect this out of Ravens Steelers. I don't know why. Is there some kind of aura? Is there somebody with a voodoo doll just poking the Ravens and Steelers every time to make them just play bad offense? But yes, there was great defense in this game. But at the end of the day, you cannot drop the amount of passes that these Ravens receivers drop. Yes, Lamar Jackson can throw a prettier ball. He can make better decisions at times. Right, there is the interception, but
Hmm.
you've got to catch. You've got to help this guy out.
At some
He's
point,
been asking for help.
Rashad Bateman, he was a first round pick or was he
He
second?
he was a high pick. I forget exactly where, but he was a pretty touted prospect coming out of Minnesota, I believe. So he was supposed to be kind of that new guy who's going to fix everything. First rounder, yeah, first round pick.
Why do I feel like, at least for me, like outside of, Lamar Jackson, that whole Ravens offense, I feel like Justice Hill has been one of the shining spots of that
What
offense,
Justice Hill?
right?
I mean, come on. And Bateman didn't want to talk to the media either after your big drop.
Who would?
I wouldn't personally, but that was an ugly game. But I mean, I think a bigger question now, and we care about quarterbacks in this league. Kenny Pickett, where do you stand on him now? I don't think one good play eliminates all of the mishaps he's had, but for a second year quarterback, he doesn't look bad, I'd say. He won a
No,
game.
I don't think he looks bad. I will say I think it was a game last year, late last year. It was prime time. It was the Steelers, and I want to say it was the Ravens, where Kenny Pickett had one of his best games. He
Right.
had a really good game, and he was making throws that are like 10-year vets would make in this league. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's something there. Maybe, and now it's like, okay, is Matt Canada the scapegoat here? Do we just say, oh, we'll just blame Matt Canada? It's all him. That's why Kenny Pickett is the way he is. But it's like, okay, he's a young receiver. It's not like he doesn't have weapons. I think he has a good, decent bunch of weapons. I think he does at
He's
least.
got
Do you,
enough.
yes, he's got more than Daniel Jones, but that's just me.
We'll get there.
Yeah. So their defense, at least for me, I think is top notch. I think their defense is one of the best in the league. I think they have one of the best defensive players in the league. As far as what's going on with him right now, I know he got hurt. We'll see what happens there. But Kenny Pickett, when I look at quarterbacks, I look, can you be a leader? Can you be a leader for the team? Can you rally the troops? Can you bring them back together? Can you make sure that everyone knows what they're doing? Can you make sure that everyone is in unison? Do I get that vibe from Kenny Pickett? No, I just don't. And I don't think that's a knock on Kenny Pickett. I think eventually, sure, he could be something. Is he that now? No, I haven't seen much of a difference from his rookie season to now. At least for me, I haven't.
Right. I mean, the last time that I saw a young quarterback that we're not too sure on wearing the number 8 that we keep saying is showing flashes every now and then of being a leader, that guy was Daniel Jones. So we'll see exactly where he goes, Kenny Pickett. Anyway, moving on. Moving on to the world of London, England in the NFL. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Buffalo Bills had a contest 25-20. And we saw that the Jacksonville Jaguars are back. Maybe. The NFL tested out the back-to-back weeks in London, and I guess it worked for the London team, right? Buffalo had to come up, and they did not. They looked asleep for the first half, really most of the game. They just did not look. They looked groggy. I mean, I remember before the game they were interviewing the players, and they were talking about what kind of sleep they were getting. Oh, I think I'll be ready on game day.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Jaguars have just been kind of sitting here waiting for their next opponent, playing at the Tottenham Hotspurs place, and Travis Etienne, I guess he just loves London. I guess he's a British man. 26 carries, 136 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence, like
Game.
he looked pretty competent as well. Trevor Lawrence, 25-37, 315 and a tutty. And Calvin Ridley. This Jaguars team loves London. Can we just move the Jaguars to London? Is this happening? When will this happen?
Okay, so Tony Khan, one of the owners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think majority or the son of.
Up there, yeah. The Shad Khan is the main majority owner.
He was asked about, the potential London Jaguars, right? Like a while back. And he was basically kind of offended at the question because the Jaguars are planning on like making a whole new stadium.
Yeah.
They're trying to make a whole new stadium. I don't know exactly when it's coming out, but it's like, for him at least, it's like, okay, this is a joke. This is just all rumors. Like, just push it aside. It makes no sense at all. But when you look at guys like us and people that are watching the game, people that are watching them in London, you're saying, I'm not saying they're going to London, but I'm just saying if you did, I wouldn't be against it. I mean, it looks fine. I haven't seen anyone play in London that's like been complaining about playing in London. I haven't seen it. At least for me, I haven't.
Not yet. I did see people complaining about the turf, right? Because you have that turf down because of soccer. Yeah, right. People complain about MetLife's turf, about Arizona's turf, right? But I will say, the game is the game, right? This is just a good contest between good football teams. I don't think we learned a lot about the Bills. I don't think we learned enough about the Jaguars to really say, okay, the Jaguars are back and the Bills, lost the game, right? They're 3-2. They're going to show up. They'll be fine. If you made a team in London, right? You can't just put one team in there and just say, hey, Dallas Cowboys, the NFC East, hey, go play the London Monarchs, every year on your schedule. Meanwhile, the 49ers get to play teams that aren't around there. So you'd have to make a whole new division. You'd have to add 4 London teams. There'd be 36 teams in the National Football League after this because you can't just add 2.
No,
you can't make it unfair. You can't just make 5 division. I mean, you could have teams with 5 division teams or whatever with 34 or however you'd even want to break that up. I don't even know. I was
gonna say it might be a little extreme, but you could low key. I mean, from what I've seen, they love Germany.
Right, Europe division. Add a German 2 teams in Germany, 2 teams in England, maybe an Irish team.
Crazy to say.
France, right? They could do it.
Maybe.
I have no idea what you name the teams. Is the talent pool for quarterbacks big enough, right? The Steelers can't find a quarter, or looking to find a quarterback. How about trying to find 4 new franchise quarterbacks for these teams? Is that going to work?
But I was gonna say, so like, at least for me, let's say you're the 49ers, right?
Right.
And then you play for the 49ers, and the GM tells you, hey, we just traded you to the London Jaguars.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, not even just like being on a new team, do you know how pissed some players would be?
Imagine having a family.
Come on. You gotta, these, their families, their kids, they're enrolled in schools. You gotta tell them, hey, we're moving to London on a dime. And what if there's some players who may have issues with boarding passes? There's players that may have issues leaving the States. How is this
Yep.
gonna work? And now I gotta go live in London now? It's like I don't think a lot of players would be. That's just one of the issues that I would feel like some players would address that hasn't been addressed. I haven't heard anyone talk about that. At least for
I've
me,
heard
I
it
haven't.
barely talked about.
Right.
Not by players yet, because I mean, there's no concrete. Oh, we're going to do this. Oh, we're going to
Right.
make a team. It feels inevitable that Europe is going to be expanded upon. I don't think that you're going to see a situation where they go Europe again and just have a fully Europe NFL. You're going to see a full division, right? Now, let's say I get traded to France. I have to learn French. You don't have to, but that's
Yeah.
going to be part of the equation, right? I mean, we have players that come in from other countries to play baseball and other sports all the time. They, a lot of the times they're translators and everything. We're going to see that in the NFL. It's going to be interesting where that goes. Now, is that going to maybe are we going to have more French football players, right? Because of this expansion, there's a lot that goes on into it. You could do a whole, million-year long discussion about it. Nothing's happened yet. But it's going to be interesting to see where they go with the NFL expanding potentially into Europe, Joel. I don't know how they do it. I don't know if it's going to be a good idea, but they're going to try. They will.
Well, they're for sure trying. I feel like I don't know exactly what their exact number is, but it does seem like they're trying to connect with London a lot more this year than they were last year.
Right.
At least for me, that's what I felt.
Be interesting. I mean, we've had talks of Mexico City. We've had talks of other places expanding into Canada. Who knows? Right. I remember Bon Jovi was going to buy the Bills and move them to Canada for whatever reason. That clearly did not happen.
Toronto Bills or something.
Toronto Bills, Toronto FC, right? But we'll see. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, right. Are we going to have London FC? Well, they have to be London AFC, American Football Club, because they already have their football clubs.
Uh-huh.
Oh, man. Well, we're not there yet. We've still got our American squads, and we've got the New England Patriots, okay? The American team, right? Well, that's the Cowboys, America's team. But, the Patriots, red, white, and blue, there's a literal guy with an American flag there. I'd say he's probably the most patriotic guy out there. But his football team, not representing the States very well.
I
34 to nothing.
Really quickly, I do appreciate the fact that you and I have both lived to see the Patriots turn into a poverty franchise.
I've seen that. I mean, it's like
it's awesome.
If you're ever worried about, I'm never going to get through this. No, we got through it. We got through the Patriots dynasty.
I never thought it would happen. And now we're here. And now the Patriots are one of the worst teams in the league. It's amazing.
It happened.
It's amazing to watch.
Happened. It's like the kids growing up now are going to be waiting to see the Chiefs fall at this point.
Yeah.
And they will one day. You'll see it. It happens. We're living proof that if you prey on someone's downfall long enough, it'll happen, okay?
I gladly was preying on their downfall.
We were.
Gladly doing it.
and it took a bunch of Saints to go into New England and do some holy work and take down the Patriots and really put the nail in the coffin on this season. 34 to nothing. Mac Jones looks terrible. I mean, just has not looked like a great NFL quarterback. Is the Bailey Zappi experience going to work? We don't think so. But it's going to be interesting, right? Because the game, there's nothing to talk about this game. The game doesn't matter. But
doesn't matter at all.
This does not look like a Bill Belichick team. This team is not grounded in anything. This team has no fight. This team has no energy. And you say the greatest coach to ever coach in the NFL would probably be Bill Belichick because of that dynasty, because of the championships. You can look to Vince Lombardi, you can look to Tom Landry, but at the end of the day, nobody has a better resume than Bill Belichick. Now, Bill Belichick's resume without Tom Brady is a whole nother story, because these Patriots have not really been able to hang on to much. Now, you do remember at the end of Tom Brady's career, they really just went all in on those past couple years without Tom Brady, or with Tom Brady, and they really weren't that good. That team hasn't been good. They've been trying to draft well, but they gamble on guys like Cole Strange, and they try to do the fancy thing again, Bill Belichick. And
N'Keal Harry.
yeah, N'Keal Harry. And I don't think anybody wants to say it. It's time. It's time. Bill Belichick. He should have retired a couple years. He should have went out with Tom.
Here's my thing, especially when it comes to Bill Bel. Okay, I mean, at first, I think he's trying to break the all-time wins for coach record. I feel like that he's second.
Oh,
right
I'm
now,
sure. Yeah, I'm sure he's trying.
which is gonna take him, at least for me. I think it's gonna take him about 5-6 years in order for him to do that.
I'll look up the actual. Yeah, Bill Belichick's at
Tom
298.
Landry, number one, right?
Don Shula at 322.
Shula.
So he's 30 games away from the all-time wins record, tying it.
You're not
by the
getting
way,
that anytime soon.
if you're going to be a 4-win football team, he's got to coach for another decade at this point. Almost, he's got to coach for almost 10 years to do this.
Come
He's
on,
what,
man.
71? I mean, he's got to put together a really good football team if he wants to find a way to get that right. See, he's 71. I mean, is he going to coach until he's 78? Can we be realistic?
How old Pete Carroll?
Pete Carroll's up there too.
73? I thought he was 73.
Pete Carroll is 72 years old. He just
Oh, he's
turned 72
72.
in September. By the way, I do applaud these coaches for coaching as long as they do. I'm not saying I'm not saying that these guys shouldn't coach past 70. Pete Carroll looks great. And I'm not saying Bill Belichick doesn't look great either, but at least with the Patriots, it's time. I don't see him getting a head coaching job anywhere else in 72, but I mean, he's going to be able to coach as long as they let him.
I know we've talked about, we said we're talking about this later. I was saying for the past month now, if there is, and I'm being as unbiased as I can be, if there is any team who should tank for Caleb Williams, it's the New England Patriots.
Absolutely.
I think the New England Patriots would thrive to get and here's the thing, I'm a Giants fan. I should not want them to get Caleb Williams, and I think they should get Caleb Williams, because where are you going with Mac Jones? Mac Jones, at least for me, he seems to be a project guy. He seems to be a guy that maybe 3-4 years down the line he could be something, but it's like, you want to wait that long? Do you really want to wait that long? I'm not trying to wait that long. I'm really not. At least for now, his first year, okay, he played fine. Whatever. He played okay. I think it was fine. He was a Pro Bowler. I don't think they don't give that to just anybody, for quarterbacks at least. I think, you got to be at least somewhat good. Now it's like, ever since I've seen him after that, he's lost his confidence. He doesn't look like he has connections with anyone within the offense. It seems like there's not a lot of guys that even want to really play there. The New England Patriots, they traded for J.C. Jackson last week. You would think something like that, getting your homeboy back, would be like, oh my God, they got J.C. Jackson. People talked about it for like maybe an hour, and that was it. Because like they're not going to do anything. Who cares? Who seriously cares? It doesn't matter. It's become like such a turnaround for the Patriots in general, where it's just like, I feel like Caleb Williams is the guy to completely turn ship. And whether that's with or without Bill Belichick, I don't know how you replace him. I think he'll go out on his own terms.
He has to. I mean,
Robert Kraft owes Bill Belichick.
Robert Kraft kind of owes him that, right? I mean, unless if this team is literally, if this team gets Caleb Williams and finds a way to ruin Caleb Williams, that would be a fireable offense. But because you've won the Super Bowls, you've done everything. There's such a tight-knit group, those New England Patriots, right? I mean, at the end of the day, how much can you blame Bill Belichick, right? Because the situation is you have Mac Jones. You're trying to rebuild after a dynasty, which takes time. And I don't really know what direction the Patriots really go in. The only direction I see is tanking and getting Caleb Williams. And I think the Panthers are going to end up probably losing out every game. And
let's get this out of the way. Nobody wants to tank, okay?
No.
Nobody
wants an unintentional
tank
at this point.
Yeah. It's really, because it's like, at least look at a team like the Panthers. You think they want to be in this position right now? You think
they signed Adam Thielen. They're getting guys. They're looking for a receiver.
Yeah.
They wanted to win.
They're trying. Like, they're genuinely trying. And they're 0-5. And you look at the Patriots, it's like kind of the same deal, where it's like no one wants this to happen. But if it's going to happen, we know how this draft works. We need to make sure we're getting the number one guy. There's guys like Drake May and all that. Caleb Williams is the number one guy. Get him, and then we're set for the next 10 years. If that happens, you know what I mean?
Right. He's probably going to win a second Heisman. Caleb Williams is probably the most surefire quarterback prospect that we've seen since what? Andrew Luck,
I
Peyton
was gonna say
Manning.
Andrew Luck too.
He's
Actually, I
up
was thinking.
there. Trevor Lawrence, right? He's that. He is that. There's no debate. There's no discussion.
I
And
I think
it
Trevor Lawrence was the last time where you and I talked, where we at this point in the year we just knew whoever gets the number one pick. Okay, that's where Trevor Lawrence is going.
we were talking about it for Trevor Lawrence. People were talking about that years prior,
Yeah,
right? When he was there at Clemson, like this freshman sophomore year, saying, "Okay, number one pick in that year's class is gonna be Trevor Lawrence." Okay, done, goodbye.
that's why
Um,
like late in the year, it's like okay, whoever gets the number one pick between at that time it was like the Jets and the Jaguars.
it
It's
was
like
the Jets,
whoever loses, it's that's where Trevor Lawrence is going because no one's trading that pick. No one's doing nothing to that pick.
and
It's
now
gonna
the
happen.
Jets are stuck with Zach
Zach.
Wilson. Zach Wilson. Oh boy, the New York Jets. That's a good transition, actually. The New
Right.
York Jets, they did it. They won a football game.
Yeah.
They beat the Denver Broncos. I don't care that you beat the Denver Broncos. I don't care that
No,
you
no one
barely
does.
beat the Denver Broncos. I really don't. Brees Hall, you're back. Brees Hall's back. That's my only takeaway from this game. That's all I've got.
He's on your
Um,
fantasy team now, isn't he?
well, I
Or you
traded him
traded
another
him.
league. I have him another. I'm in too many fantasy football leagues. I have Brees Hall is somewhere in the ether in my fantasy life. He's in there. But Zach Wilson went 19 to 26, 199 yards and interception. I am a Zach Wilson dynasty owner actually.
Me
Picked him
too.
up off the wire. Okay, but you look at the fact that I'm looking at Russell Wilson and I'm looking at Zach Wilson, and you don't really see much of a difference right now. Now, Russ, I actually, I mean, I think it's more of a compliment to Zach Wilson because Russ hasn't looked bad. This
No,
team
he's
looks
he's
terrible.
actually been pretty good.
He's been great, actually,
Yeah,
right?
he's been pretty good.
The numbers aren't there, but he's been making smart decisions. He just hasn't been getting help, like, at all. There's been no help in Denver. And the thing is, I kind of look at the Patriots, I look at the Broncos, I look at even Carolina, and who are we? We were looking at the Arizona Cardinals as a team that's just going to stink. They're going to get the number one pick. They're getting Caleb Williams. They are going to be the team that finds a way to get the number one pick. There are already photoshops of him in a Cardinal jersey, right? But you look at the Denver Broncos, they had expectations. They got Sean Payton. The Pats have Bill Belichick. The Panthers have looked, people were saying they could win the division with how bad that division was going to be. Now it looks like Tampa or New Orleans or Atlanta, really anybody besides the Panthers. The Broncos had expectations and they failed and failed and failed. But Russ is
I
there.
think it's very similar to the Patriots, where it's just is the game just changing for these old head coaches? I
Sean
mean,
Payton's not even that old though, compared
no,
to Bill.
what I mean is like coaches that have been in the league for like a while. Because you look at guys like I'm not saying these guys are good coaches, but like Jonathan Gannon, Shane Steichen, you're looking at D'Amico Ryans, like a lot of these guys that are getting hired, a lot of young dudes, a lot of guys that have developed well within this league, guys who know these players. These guys are all like what within their 30s or something like that. I
Just
mean,
around 40, yeah.
yeah, around there. I mean, I'm saying why are these guys the ones getting hired? Because I think GMs are understanding that the game is changing. And a guy like Sean Payton, he's not the same Sean Payton that you can get that you had in like, 2010. He's just not that guy anymore.
He's not. He really
At
isn't.
least I don't think he is.
No, he's not. No, he's not the same guy. I think it's a broader statement, right? Because I've seen this kind of starting to get talked about is why are we just hiring the same guys over and over again? There's so many young coaches in college football, in high school football at this point, that are changing the way the game is played every single day. Yet the Raiders are saying, let's hire Josh McDaniels as our head coach. We're just going back to these names. It feels like GMs are just hiring guys based off of names half the time. Half of the league is saying we got to go with the new, we've got to go with what's right. Yet
Right.
the other half of the league is paying Sean Payton the richest coaching contract in the history of the National Football League. And
Also, keep in mind they
we're seeing the
they
results.
traded for Sean Payton.
Right. They gave up so much to get Sean Payton.
Didn't they give him a first round pick?
It was something around. It was whatever it is to
The
take a
fact that you
guy
had to
that
give
said
up picks for a coach is like mind boggling to me. That's so crazy because like that never happens too.
right. It just and then the amount they gave up for Russell Wilson, whatever they did, it was just like I don't understand. They reached a deal. It was. I'll get the final details about this Sean Payton trade. The Saints will receive the Broncos 2023 first-round pick, which was the 29th pick of the draft, and a 2024 second-rounder for Sean Payton and a Saints 2024 third-round pick.
They
That was absurd.
They selected Brian Bresee with that pick.
Sure, they got a prospect.
That was the guy from Clemson. He was a D end.
Yes, they got him. The defensive tackle out of Clemson. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure if he's really done anything just yet. But
no, I don't think he's really played all that much.
Right. So we'll have to see what happens with him, and maybe he'll be a Hall of Fame defensive tackle, and we'll be like, okay, that was a great trade. But I don't know. I really don't know with the Saints. It's a great move for them to trade a coach that wasn't going to coach for them and get a first round pick out of it. Are you kidding me? You were going to fire him anyway. He retired.
Exactly.
So the Broncos are just done this year. They've got nowhere to go. I don't know where they go. It's done. But it's a life with Sean Payton. They're just stuck with the same head coach who's going to be 60. And the game has changed a lot faster than a lot of these guys can catch up to. I would rather have Shane Steichen than Sean Payton. I'd rather have Jonathan Gannon than Sean Payton. I really would.
Yeah, I don't blame you, honestly.
I'd rather have those coaches than Bill Belichick right now if I'm a Broncos fan, because you're not in a position where, okay, the team is set, right? With the Saints, you had the quarterback, you had the squad, you had the defense. These Broncos were still building something, and to get a head coach who's more of a win now head coach and bring him to your team and get Russ and give up your whole future when this team still needed to build a future, it's mind-boggling. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Obviously, new owners wanted to come in and make a splash, but now they've set up their franchise in a way where they can't build for another 5 years. They're not in any sweepstakes. They're just done. So I don't get it. They're just stuck where they are, stuck in their ways. At least the Jets make moves, right? And for the Jets, they've won a game. Where do they go? Is there hope? Is it false hope? Is it real hope? Should we follow the Jets? Should we care about the Jets this year?
At least for me, I think the Jets, I'm going to say this carefully. I think they can make the playoffs. I think they can make the playoffs with Zach Wilson. I think they could do that. Like, I don't think a lot of people would be shocked if that was to happen. Now, when it comes to being in the playoffs, I think they're going to get smoked. At least that's just me.
Unless if Rodgers comes back.
No, you don't. You don't do that. Not with a guy. If he is serious about coming back next year, which I believe he is, you don't let him play. Screw this year. We'll play you next year. Try whatever we wanted to happen this year, we could do next year. Just rest that leg, relax, don't do anything. We have Zach. We're trying to make this work with him. This is his last opportunity.
I don't know, Joel. What if the ayahuasca truly works? What if he's really back in a very short amount of time? If he really makes that recovery and finds a way to get back for, let's say he's healthy by week 16, which is probably not going to happen, but I'm just assuming a miracle. How do you not, let's say you're in the playoffs, how do you not go ahead and let a Hall of Fame quarterback try it out? You can't guarantee they're going to be in the playoffs next year. You can't guarantee that. They got a whole season to try to play with, right? You can't guarantee that they're going to be in the playoffs next year. So we'll see. But at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers will probably not play for the Jets anyway, so it doesn't really matter. What does matter, though, is the absolute disappointment that the New York Giants have been. Miami, 31-16. Joel, you're having a rough time. I know we all have to find our ways to cope somehow, but Daniel Jones kind of injured. Who knows what's going to happen there? Eric Gray's your leading rusher. Darren Waller's your leading receiver. Daniel Jones ended up finishing the day 14 of 20 for 119 yards. Okay. Yeah, he got hurt, though. Because this Giants offensive line lets him get hit every single play. I don't know how in the world he's lasted this long, but I remember sitting there watching the first part of that game. I see Daniel Jones run. I see him run out of bounds. I see him get sacked. You just can't let this guy get hit so much. He's been getting hit game after game after game after game, and it's finally starting to catch up to Daniel Jones. Jones has been a warrior. He's been getting through it, but the Giants, they've just been losing and losing and losing and losing. Joel, I'll let you take the floor because these are your guys.
So, I mean, I appreciate it. Just when it comes to Daniel Jones, okay. First of all, at least when it comes to the general Giants fan, or at least the Giants fans that have like common sense, I don't think anyone really hates Daniel Jones. I really don't think that. I don't think anyone, wants Daniel Jones just to be off the team. I want him, blah, 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 because he's so terrible. I don't think anyone's really saying that. Now, there are things when it comes to Daniel Jones that I wish can be more improved when it comes to the fumbles, when it comes to, his inability to look on the left side when he's getting sacked. But that's just me. When it comes to the offensive line, okay, everyone wants to talk about the draft. Oh, you need to get this. You need to get the best guard. You need to get the best tackle. I am sick and tired of drafting offensive linemen. Okay, how do you think the offensive line is as bad as it is right now? Because majority of this offensive line are young guys that we're just looking to develop. Joshua Izudu is never going to develop. Shane Lemieux is never going to develop. Ben Bettis. He was on the Ravens practice squad and he's starting for the Giants. I don't know how that happened. Oh my God. I mean, you got Izudu playing the left tackle. Evan Neal. I didn't even bring up Evan Neal yet. I mean, you want to get into what he said, last week?
You have to, right?
Talking about, the fans being hamburger flippers. Okay, so like, he apologized for it. Excuse my language. I don't really give a damn. I don't give a crap about what he said about the fan. I don't give a damn about what he said about the apology. Okay. That sealed it for me when it's just like, listen, honestly, if you were to cut him, I don't care. I don't think I would care at all. This guy reminds me of like an Isaiah Wilson. He reminds me of an Alex Leatherwood. He reminds me of these guys. I would rather have those two guys than have you. I actually would rather have those two guys. At least I can make sure that they're going to show up and not give up. Oh my God, like what, 6, 7 sacks in one singular game? It's insane to me that this guy has lasted as long as he has. And it's just, I'm so sick of it. It's exhausting to watch. It's mentally draining. The defense has underperformed. I don't care about the 102-yard picks. It's been underperforming. Okay. I don't care about any, Kayvon Thibodeau had like what? He has like 3 sacks on the year. I could care less. Deonte Banks, a first-round pick. He's had one of the best coverage. I could care less. You're 1-5 now, or 1-4. It feels like they're 1-5. I mean, you got the freaking Bills that you got to face like on primetime too. Do you know how many primetime? Oh my God, that's another thing that's frustrating me. 4 primetime games within 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Why?
Because the Giants were supposed to be good.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of teams are supposed to be good. I don't see any of them getting 4 primetime games within a 6-week span. That's ridiculous to me, because not only are they bad, all of America is watching this game, seeing how bad they are, which is just even more embarrassing. And to top it all off, this coaching staff, where did they go? I mean, Mike Kafka, he was supposedly the guy who made Patrick Mahomes, the guy who made sure that the Chiefs were going to be like the guy right behind Eric Bieniemy. You bring him in to be the offensive coordinator, and it was like, oh my God, this guy is going to be so good. This guy's going to be so great. First year, yeah, sure, he was awesome. First year, it was great. The offense was electric. The offense were doing so. I know we all watched the Minnesota Vikings playoff game. The offense looked amazing. So it was like, oh my God, like we're going to have this guy forever. He's going to be great. And it just disappeared. It fizzled out. It disappeared. And a lot of these receivers last year, they didn't go anywhere. Richie James is the only one that really left. That was it. So what changed? What happened? What mentally went wrong? That's the only thing that like it's frustrating to watch, because you look at this roster on paper, nothing much changed. Not really. The scheduling, maybe you can argue, okay, they're facing tougher teams. You could argue that maybe because they overperformed last year. They won. And Brian Dable, who won Coach of the Year last year, it's getting so bad. I think you just need to blow it up, starting with Daniel Jones. The offensive line, you're going to have to look at free agency. you're not looking at the draft. I don't want any more rookie tackles, rookie offensive line. It's not working. It's not working.
It's really just not good enough. And I think you talked about a bit, right? What changed? And I think every Giants fan wants to know what did change for this team. And I think it's a lot simple. Maybe not so simple. I think it's a big when it comes to leadership, right? Can you name me a leader for this team in the locker room? Is Daniel Jones a leader? Is Kayvon Thibodeau a leader yet, as young as
No,
he
he's
is?
not.
Is Adoree Jackson supposed to be that leader? I listened to him do an interview on the radio yesterday. This team
Adore,
doesn't have a leader that
Adoree Jackson may
performs.
not even be on the team, but in the next
Exactly.
few weeks.
Exactly. He might be gone, right?
Yeah, he might get traded.
This team doesn't have much of a leader, right? So we go through that, right? And they didn't have one last year. So how did that work, right? This is a different mindset that the New York Giants had heading into the season. You know, Brian Dable came in, first year head coach. They said, oh my goodness, we're underrated. We're slept on. Nobody thinks that this franchise and this team is going to be able to perform. They think the Giants stink. The Giants have stunk forever. Let's prove all these doubters wrong. Let's make sure that nobody is going to doubt the New York Giants ever again. We're a good team. Let's prove everybody wrong.
Let's make a big trade and go get one of the baddest tight ends in the league.
Right. No, but no, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about last year. Why the Giants performed. They showed up because nobody believed in them. And Brian Dable was such a motivational head coach, right? He takes a bunch of guys, even in Buffalo, Josh Allen, everybody said you were bad. Everybody said you were not going to develop. And then he showed up. Once the expectations are there, once it's, okay, now we're in year 2, like let's prove ourselves right. They can't prove themselves wrong. They can't prove themselves right. They can only prove other people wrong. And now that everybody went around them and said, okay, the Giants are going to be a playoff team this year, there was no more of that underdog mentality. You know,
it wasn't.
And I think I don't even know who to put that on because it's such a hard thing to do to make a team that's winning think that they're underdogs. Is what Kirby Smart did at Georgia. You had guys saying, you know, the back-to-back Georgia national championship. There was a guy saying, people thought we were going to be a 3-loss team this year. Nobody thought that. Everybody penciled in Georgia as a national champion back-to-back, but that team didn't think that. That team thought that people doubted them. Nobody thinks that nobody believes that the Giants were supposed to be bad this year. Everybody was like, oh, the Giants are in the playoffs. And now they're not. Now they stink.
I have seen a lot of similar situations to this of what you are saying, where it's like, you know, nobody thought the Giants were going to be good. Well, they made the playoffs. And now it's become like, well, the Giants are going to be the first team out of the playoffs. And now it's like they can't even make. It's not going to happen.
They're bad.
Not going to happen. Now it's become like not only will they not be the first team out of the playoffs, they're not even going to be within a 5-game stretch of the playoffs. It's not going to happen.
We went from Daniel Jones as an elite quarterback to, oh my God, Caleb Williams. How good is this guy? If you're a Giants fan.
If you are anyone within the Giants facility, all you are doing is watching Caleb Williams film. That's all you're doing.
You're watching Drake May film. You're watching Michael Penix film. But that's not going to solve your issue. It's not going to solve your line. It's not going to solve your receiving core that stinks.
I don't think it's going to solve your issue initially.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be like, you know, let's say the Giants are so terrible they get the number 1 pick. Let's just say that happens, right? The New York Giants select Caleb Williams out of USC.
Right.
And it's like, oh my God, they got Caleb Williams. Holy crap. It's insane. That is going to be the start of what is soon to be, I want to say, the rebuild. At least because when you look at a team like the Bengals, right? That team was nothing. That team was absolutely garbage. And there was needs across the board. Across the board, there was needs. But where did this all start with? Joe Burrow.
Right.
The best college quarterback we have ever seen. The best season a quarterback has ever had. Let's go get him. Right. It all starts with him.
College quarterback, yeah, up there.
The Giants are in that same boat. The Giants are in that same boat. We're saying, listen, if we get Caleb Williams, I don't think a lot of people are going to be looking at much else. They're just going to say, oh my God, they got Caleb Williams. Like, this is going to be crazy. That's what I think it starts with. Now, your problems are not fixed day one. We all know that. It's still more needs to be done. But I think it's starting with him or Drake May, if that happens.
Right. So that was where I was going to go to, right? Let's say the Giants, they've got the Jets, they've got a couple games against Washington. Let's say they somehow, the Giants, become a 6-win team. Brian Dable gets the guys going. They go, oh my goodness, we're 1-5.
Then it's over,
Everyone thinks
right?
we stink, right? Everyone thinks we're terrible. Everyone thinks the Giants are going to get Caleb Williams. No, we're going to make the playoffs still. And they squeeze out a 6-win season, and they're in the middle. They're going to draft an offensive lineman in that
Yeah,
part of the draft,
most likely.
probably. So, what do you think is more going to happen? More likely, do you think it's going to be that the Giants are going to be bad enough to get Caleb Williams or Drake May? I don't think so. I think they'll end up winning a few 4 or 5 games.
Because I feel like the
point.
Giants haven't shown, at least at this point, they haven't shown that we can go out there and win. I'm telling you right now, I would put money on it. They are not winning games with Tyrod Taylor.
Well, yeah, if Daniel Jones is not playing, then they're going to be
They are not going to win games with Tyrod Taylor. If Tyrod Taylor is starting for the New York Giants next week, take the under for everything that the Giants always take. They're not going to do anything. It's not going to happen.
They're not going to move the ball. You've seen this. You've seen this with Jake Fromm. You've seen this with Mike Glennon. It's just going to be another Tyrod Taylor.
That was a horrible game. That Jake Fromm
goodness.
Game. Horrible
Jake Fromm.
Game.
Did you have negative yards at the end of the game?
Yeah, he went like, oh my God, what was it? I think it was like he was 2 for 4 and he had like -5 yards.
And Jake Fromm is probably at Stop and Shop now or something. I don't know.
He's with the Browns, I think.
Is he? He's still a young quarterback that can bounce around practice squads for sure.
He's like the 4th stringer or something like that.
Right. I can see him developing in the XFL. Maybe London needs him. Maybe London will need him when that happens.
Could be.
But yeah, so I'm just going to gloss over a few more games. The Texans, Falcons, tight contest. CJ Stroud's fine. Bijan Robinson is a god. Bengals, Cardinals, Joe Burrow, I guess he's okay. I am always open. Jamar Chase. The Cardinals are losing games as usual. Eagles, they won a game again. Nice. The Rams are still the Rams. And that's the 3 games that I didn't care about. Oh, the Lions and the Panthers I also didn't care about. Yeah, the Panthers stink. I don't know what to tell you. Bryce Young, I don't blame you, son. I don't blame you. It's not your fault. Okay. Just want to remind you.
I love that tweet that someone was saying like, oh yeah, the Panthers are looking to trade for a wide receiver 1 for Bryce Young. And it's like, that's crazy. It would be awesome if they had a guy like DJ Moore or something like that. Right. Oh wait.
They had to give up DJ Moore to get Bryce Young. I would have rather thrown out Jake Fromm this year and stunk again and got like whoever was, got a great defensive play. I don't know, whatever. The Panthers are the Panthers. They're going to do what they do. And speaking of young quarterbacks, poor Anthony Richardson, right? He's I mean, that's going to be tough for the Colts to deal with. I mean, if you're
How do you feel? Because you're the Colts fan.
It's rough, right? I don't really know where they go. He's out 4 to 6 weeks. And it's one of those situations where you watch it and you don't, that's his identity as a player. He's going to run. He's gonna do what he does. He's a physical runner. He's not like a Lamar Jackson and even a Daniel Jones at times is more of a elusive runner, get down to the sideline. Anthony Richardson is huge, man. He is such a large body that he's physical enough that he's gonna run physically. He wants to run at guys. A lot of great mobile quarterbacks run away at guys. Anthony Richardson runs at guys. He's going to get hurt that way. But that's also his game. So I don't know.
I remember watching Florida and seeing the quarterback Anthony Richardson like 2 years ago or something like that, and I was watching and I'm just like, who is this number 15 for the Florida? I'm like, holy cow, this guy is awesome.
He can ball.
And it was before I even knew that he was like draft eligible or anything like that. It was before I even knew any of that, and I was just like, wait, he's gonna get drafted in 2023. I'm like, oh my God, and I'm looking at all the other quarterbacks and I'm like, okay, yeah, they're good. Yeah, he's fine. I want that dude from Florida.
Yeah.
And I kept asking, what's his name? Anthony Richardson. I'm like, oh my God. And I saw like, they show you like the college stats of like his touchdown to interception ratio. I was like, I don't even care about that. Not really. This guy looks like a stronger Lamar Jackson. He looks just like that. I'm like, he looks like a stronger Lamar. That's exactly what I thought of him. And I'm like, oh my God, whoever gets him is going to be set for like the next 10 years. Oh, I can't wait to see if this guy goes in the league.
This guy can throw the ball on the rope too. I mean, he's got
Yeah,
arm strength. He's got everything
he's
that you'd want
strong.
a
You're right.
quarterback.
He's a strong
He's
guy.
huge compared to most quarterbacks. I mean, it's amazing. This guy's awesome, and he's out. So I don't know where the Colts kind of go from there. They're a contender in the AFC South. Weird enough to say, even with Gardner Minshew. So I want to see where it ends up. I think depending on where the Colts are, Anthony Richardson might end up getting shut down for the season. But obviously, the guy wants to play. He's going to have to really work a lot on taking care of himself when he's on the field, because it's not like, I mean, I also, once I heard Colts quarterback, young, shoulder injury, you know who I'm thinking about, right? I'm
Right.
thinking about Andrew Luck, and I've
Andrew
seen this
Luck, right.
before. So it's this time it doesn't feel like the fault of the Colts having an awful offensive line, because there's something there. But Anthony Richardson, if he can continue to work on taking care of his body and taking care of himself when he's on the field, the Colts will be fine. We got a couple games left. We got the Chiefs and the Vikings, 27-20. This led to Justin Jefferson. A lot of people were saying, and I'm hearing, not from anybody I know because I'm not a source, but people think Justin Jefferson has played his last game as a Minnesota Viking.
No, come on.
People think
No,
that. There's a
no,
thought, right? I mean, the Chiefs won the game. We expected that, right?
no shot.
Seeing how
There's
upset
no.
Justin Jefferson is, it's tough. 1-4 Minnesota. Kirk Cousins, he did enough, but
Let
not
me tell
enough.
you something. If the Minnesota Vikings fumble the bag with Justin Jefferson, that will go down as like one of like the biggest fumbles we have ever seen in NFL history. I'm not even joking.
When was the last time that happened with Minnesota? Randy Moss. They couldn't win with Randy Moss.
Not even joking.
Yeah,
You know how crazy that is?
it's
Like
something. It would be so Minnesota though.
if I see oh my God, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
If
Yes.
I see Justin Jefferson wearing a New England Patriots jersey in the future, I'm
Oh.
gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna be so mad if that happens.
Chicago finds a way to get Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, and Justin Jefferson. How
Oh my
about
God, no. You trade him with it. Oh no, well, can they even trade him if he was a free agent? I doubt it.
if he was a free agent? No, but if he after he comes back on IR and he says, "I want," I mean, at this point, isn't it past the trade deadline? Whatever. Let's say they do it. Let's say whatever happens. Justin Jefferson, maybe he wants to leave. Maybe he wants out of here. So okay, the Vikings are 1-4. Yes, they're 1-4. They are not. They don't look good. They don't have a ton of talent. Defensively, they lost a lot of pieces. We saw this coming. We saw the Vikings downfall coming. Why, if you're 1-7 or you're 2-6 or you're 1 whatever, you're done by the trade deadline.
Yeah,
You're done. And the Jets are 4-5. How is Kirk Cousins not going to end up a New York Jet?
I don't.
Why
think
would
that
you
happens.
not do that if you're the
Well, here's
Vikings?
the thing.
Because you're not doing this next year. It's something is the Vikings need to blow everything up.
I feel like it would work for the Vikings. I don't know if the Jets would do
Okay,
that.
it depends where Zach Wilson is at that point too.
Like, if you want to make the argument that Kirk Cousins should be traded, I'm not going to argue against that.
Atlanta,
If oh, that now
maybe he's not mobile enough to run that offense, I think. But you could maybe make some decisions there. What's going to happen with Derek Carr and the Saints? Is Bill Belichick dumb enough? Who knows?
He got his money.
Yeah.
Derek Carr.
If Daniel Jones is shut down, the Giants have a fighting chance.
You just got to look at teams that Tennessee,
right? There's contenders like Kirk, but if you're the Vikings, right? So if I trade Kirk Cousins, I trade Kirk. My defense is in shambles. Whatever you want to say, right? Yes, they lost a close game. Travis Kelce almost got hurt. Taylor Swift was in shambles as well. But why not trade Justin Jefferson? I'm going to play devil's advocate. Why not get a first-round pick and get all these assets that the best receiver in football is going to bring to you?
This is so Howie Roseman, because when it came to AJ Brown, everyone just naturally assumed AJ Brown's just going to stay with the Titans and they'll figure it out. He's saying, why not? Why would I not reach out to Tennessee and just say, hey, what's the price for AJ Brown? Why not?
Why not see what's the price? What do I have to give you?
What's the worst that can happen? They're gonna say no, and then that's it. Like, okay, let's negotiate. Let's just talk. And then
Yeah,
all of a sudden they get one of the best wide receivers in the league after like what, year 3? Like,
something like
you
that.
know
You
how
get an
crazy that
AJ
was?
Brown at AJ Brown Devonta Smith receiving core. You just found a way.
And now the Philadelphia Eagles are one of the best teams in the league. And then you look at, a team like Minnesota. Yeah, don't get me wrong, Justin Jefferson, best wide receiver. No one's gonna argue against you, but what's that doing for you? You're 1-4.
Nothing.
You're 1-4. Nothing's happening. You're getting
Nothing.
good product. At this point, Justin Jefferson, I mean, I understand he's injured, but when he's healthy, you're playing for your stats. You're just playing for stats. That's what you're doing.
Stats, legacy, whatever you want to call it.
Legacy.
I don't think he ends up getting traded. I think the Vikings just ride it out. I don't see Kirk Cousins actually getting traded. I was just trying to
I don't think so either.
I don't think it actually happens. I think Zach Wilson's going to play the rest of the year for the Jets, whatever. But I think Minnesota needs to take a hard look in the mirror after this loss. And
Right.
if they lose next week and the week after that, at some point you have to take a look in the mirror and say, what are we? They'll find out. What are the Dallas Cowboys, by the way? What is Dak?
That
Cooper Rush play? The Niners are the Niners. We know this. They're going to win the Super Bowl probably. But obviously the story there is Dallas losing by 32.
I got when I think about the Dallas Cowboys, and granted, I'm a Giants fan, so maybe I'm just a little biased, maybe a little biased, but I look at the Dallas Cowboys. This is what I think of right now. A joke.
Yep.
They are a joke. That team is a joke. Let me tell you something. I have seen teams with far less weapons than the Dallas Cowboys that perform pretty well. They don't get, blown out on prime time by a team that you're supposed to be on par with, by the way. A team you're supposed to be on par. Like, if that wasn't crazy to say in the beginning of the year that the Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers were going to be neck and neck. Now it's like, dude, you're not even in our league. You're not even in our league. Like, I saw, Micah Parsons, he has a podcast, whatever, and he just said, the next time we see you, but basically just talking all this stuff to the 49ers. Deebo Samuel could not care less about Micah Parsons. He said, we beat you 42-10.
Yeah.
We beat you 40. What next time we face you, it's probably going to be a lot worse. What are you talking about? What are we talking about here?
Next time they face each other, it probably won't be in the playoffs.
Yeah, right.
Oh, the Cowboys even get there. You have to worry about next week. Why are you worried about the Niners? It just destroyed you.
Yeah, why? That's another thing too. Why are you so worried about there is no for sure bet that you're going to make the playoffs.
No, you got to win.
I
next
hate
week.
to break it to you, but there are a good amount of teams in the league in the NFC right now. They're making a good playoff push. Yep. I don't know for certain if you're going to make the playoffs. I don't know about that.
They've got prime time against LA Chargers next week. That's a big game. You got to worry about Justin Herbert, my friend.
Yeah. Why
you got to
worry
about
the 49ers?
I don't know.
Why are you so worried about the 49ers for? They beat you. It's over. Done. Forget about them.
And even Dak, next week? I think Dak showed a lot of humility, saying, "Okay, this was humble.
Trash.
I'm humbled." Right? He's yes, he played bad. He played awful. He played
trash,
beyond awful. I don't know if there's words to describe that game.
There's no other word to describe that. I can't this is where the biasy comes out because I have never seen a quarterback get so much hype and so much praise than Dak Prescott. And every single time I watch this guy play, it's just like, what does he do that I can't get another guy in the draft to do? I don't understand why. It makes no sense why he's getting as much praise as he does. I watch this man play and I'm just like, okay, if Daniel Jones had CeeDee Lamb, this offensive line, had Micah Parsons on defense, I think he'd be pretty on par with Dak Prescott. I don't think that's crazy to say.
No, he'd be just fine. I think it's because we've seen Dak do it before. We've seen Dak lead a team, and Dak is good enough to get this team to the playoffs. Right, Dak is that in 20, even years before this, Dak is good enough to get this team to the playoffs. Right, and the thing about the Cowboys is that's all they care about. That's all Jerry Jones. Just give me a chance. Just get us in. Not worried about building because the Cowboys have to win every year, right? So if the Cowboys move on from Dak Prescott and they try to go out a young guy and it doesn't work out, the Cowboys can't afford to be a joke with Jerry Jones. The ego's too high to lay low for a while if you're the Dallas Cowboys, because they know that another team like Kansas City, like Philadelphia, would take them over as America's team. They already have, but not to Jerry Jones yet. If the Cowboys had 3 seasons of not making the playoffs, everything would be in shambles. The star would mean nothing. But because they're there every time, because they make the playoffs, and they'll probably find a way to get in, they stick with Dak. They try to find ways to win. That isn't the traditional, we're going to be bad for a while, then we're going to be good. We're going to be bad for a while, then we're going to be good, because the Cowboys can't afford to do it. They can't. And obviously Jerry Jones, however long he has left, in his role, wants to get one more.
I don't know why I thought you meant like his life. I'm like, oh, geez, that's kind of dark.
But no. I'm sure Jerry Jones will be just fine. I hope he's just fine. I hope nothing but happiness and health to him. I realize that's why I realized what I was initially saying, and then I said his time is his time. But he has said no, but he has said previously that he wants one before he dies. He said that exact wording before.
No, yeah, you're right.
So
you're right.
I that's not where I was going with it, but that's what he said. He said that. But unlike Jerry Jones, we have run out of time here on Break Panel Sports. I've been John, joined alongside Joel. Unless if you have anything else to add, Zoom's about to kick us off in a bit, but what do you got?
It is perfectly fine. I understand we have run out of time. We've been rambling way too long.
It's fine. That's what we do. It's how we rock. Oh, the Raiders, they won. Congratulations. Congratulations. Jordan Love. Keep developing, buddy. Bro? Keep developing, my friend. You'll be just fine. I got faith in you, kid. You're on my fantasy team, so you must be good. But that'll do it for Break Panel Sports. A little week 5 breakdown for you. That'll be it. Been John joined alongside Joel. We will see you another time. Take care.
Later.